Hey, what's going on, everybody? Let me flip over to my notes here. Let me see. Tonight is going to be different from any video on my channel, anywhere, any video. But it should interest every single one of you because every single one of you is doing it every day. And you, even if you're not going to, even if you don't need to change anything about it, you need to recognize that you're doing it because there may come a point when you want to make a change and tweak things out. And I think that well, first let me introduce these two badasses who are going to be joining me tonight. So over on the far end, I got Mr. Tremaine Hayhoe Studios, going to be the largest movie studio in the world someday.
That's right. Thank you.
And I own a little piece of it.
A little bit, yeah.
I put a brick in there. Yeah. And then we got Welty here tonight. And Welty, I know a lot of you, like me, have been digging his channel. If you're not familiar with either of these guys' channels, it's in the show notes or will be immediately following this. So get in there and check out their channels, like it, subscribe. But if you don't like it, leave a comment why you don't like it so that they can at least respond to you. I guess I'll leave it at that. So both of you guys, thank you for being here tonight. This can be fun.
Thank you for having us, Steve.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So here's the topic, you guys: branding and marketing, and you being your brand, and all of this stuff. And I think that this is the year of all years. Like, I love doing little side projects like this. But this is the year of all years to recognize it, because especially for us gig workers, and we're in, it is January. I'm not casting doom and gloom across the earth. It will pop back. January sucks every year. Been doing this for a long time. But I think that it's time to really, with legislation and other things and supporting other states that have legislation, it's being taken out of the gig worker. So even when it gets back to a more not as oversaturated, but still oversaturated market, and maybe the pay changes a little. We've only always seen it take a hit for the driver, but the driver will pay for these more states that change. So it's time to take way big interest in yourself and realize that even if you're only working one app, that's kind of your brand right there. I mean, I'm sure you have a lot more to your brand. Hopefully we'll get that out tonight. So let me start. We just were talking backstage. I'm going to give my quick timeline history of working, and then we'll kind of come back to some of the stuff because it all relates to my branding. But I'll just like read it off, and then I'll let these guys go. We'll go in order of age. So Tremaine will go next, clearly.
Thank you. This isn't a competition, guys. This isn't. Hey, at least I'm not the oldest.
First,
right?
So
okay,
that speaks volumes. So I just kind of dissed on myself, I think.
Yeah.
But first, who's in here already? Hey, what's up, Edwards Food? What's up, Bohemoth? What's up, Tony? What's up, Kevin Hawthorne? What's up, Ceci? How you guys doing?
Yo, Tony.
To the other 12, 13, 14 people watching, thank you for joining us. So here's mine in a nutshell. Okay. So, finished college in 1995, was a bartender through college, moved to Miami in 95 to 99, worked for Laser Productions as a salaried employee. And then in 99, I moved to Colorado and started a bar with the restaurant group that I was working for in Michigan during college, ran that bar until just lost my place, until 2009. 2009 to 2012 was the social media director for Access CC. It's a computer company out of San Rafael, California. 2012 to 2016, I was the director of operations for the Penny Machine Company. Many of you don't know that. Souvenirs, penny presses, put 2 quarters in and a penny and it smashes it and it turns it into Disney World and things like that. Nice. So we did zoos, aquariums, amusement parks, historical sites, trade shows. So I was all over the place. 2015, finally got in the gig economy. Rideshare, obviously, and still laser production, but now not salary, IC. 2017, started the website for Rideshare, and which will be 6 years in March. And then still Rideshare, pandemic. The pandemic's a marker for everybody. Pandemic, met David Pickerel 3 days from 3 days into the pandemic, launched the audio podcast in May 2020. Worked all the apps I could except for Rideshare starting after the pandemic, and still haven't gone back to Rideshare, even though I do feel it's safe now. November 2021, I started posting videos and lives to YouTube, and I've been heavily involved with Para, Gary'sApps.com, Mr. Middleton, and along with other brands too that I believe in. And again, that goes to my brand, things I believe in. If I don't believe in it, I've even told partnerships, I don't diss on them, but I don't partner up with people if I don't know or believe in the product. Because as we'll probably talk about tonight, that comes back to reflect your brand.
To haunt you.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully
yeah, exactly.
you're choosing well who you're partnering up with, you know. It's
right.
But yeah, and then obviously, two other things real quick. I am taking my final Avalanche class in March. I will only be 80 practical ride-along hours with paramedics away from being search and rescue. This has been a thing that got thrown off by the pandemic. I finally got a spot in there. It's hard to get it. They only do it in two places, Rocky Mountain National Park and up in Jackson Hole. And after the pandemic, it was very difficult to get in. So I got slipped into a spot. And last but not least, I have a son who lives with me full-time, junior in high school, lifeguard. And he's the reason I do everything that I just talked about my whole life, every day.
Oh, that's cool.
There
that's
we go.
Nice.
Tremaine.
Wow. Okay.
What elementary school did you go to? Just
follow that. Yeah. So I was born in a barn, in a manger. No, just kidding. Yeah, I went to, I don't know where to start. I graduated college. Didn't ever want to go to college, but I did. I went to 3 different colleges. My first was Cal State Monterey Bay. I did not like it. I was on the dean's list, had a 3.9 GPA, but I was like drinking my face off every night, you know. So transferred to community college, went to San Diego State, worked at a TV station there, KPBS. So it's like the local broadcasting. Always wanted to make my own movie studio, but I was always kind of like hesitant about that. Always wanted to make movies ever since I was little. Ever since I saw the movie Lion King, I was I think 7 years old, 7 or 8 when it came out. And I always wanted to make movies. So I wanted to make movies. I didn't want to go to school, but I'm actually glad that I did go to college because I met a lot of film buddies that I still keep in touch with today. And those years are good years to, you know, kind of figure out like, you're in there, Welty, you know, young and motivated and work hard. And so, yeah, I worked at a TV station, also sold knives on the side, you know. Cutco, anyone like Cutco, sold $19,000 worth of knives.
I did the same.
So that's a pretty cool, fun summer job. So I always kind of like always had a part-time job. I also worked at Hollywood Video. So I always had like a video related type job. And then when I graduated college, I worked at this company called Maker Studios, where they create, it was basically a bunch of the top YouTubers at that time banded together and started their own internet social media studio. So I pretty much cut my teeth there with a lot of the projects. We filmed every single day, from shooting to editing to producing to being PA, worked on a ton of different sets. You know, so, and then I always made just silly videos on the side, you know, and then finally, yeah. And then I got laid off. And so I got laid off, and then like, I could have kept doing like the whole freelance gig, but it's a grind, you know. The video industry, the film industry is like long hours, long days, like, and it never stops. And you're always trying to look for that next gig. You're pretty much unemployed until you're employed for like, you know, a film gig for like 3 months, and then you have to start all over again. So, I started my own company, Hayhoe Studios, in 2012. I started doing music videos for other YouTube talent. So I could see that there was a need for a lot of these people that actually have budgets. So I did that for a while. And then I kind of got burned out on that. Ended up doing Rideshare a little bit on the side. And then I wanted to, make my first movie. I was like, I was turning 30 years old. I'm like, man, I call myself a filmmaker. I haven't even made a film yet. Well, what could I do? And I had this harebrained idea about a killer rideshare driver, killer Uber driver. And I'm like, well, I want to do it right. I don't want to pull favors. I don't want to also I did all the gig work that I was doing wasn't going to amount to the amount of money that I was going to need to raise. So 3 days later, I was at a bachelor party, and one of my friend of mine goes, he's like, hey, Hayhoe, are you working on any cool projects? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm always working on cool projects. And he's like, well, are there any projects that need investing? And I'm like, I'm not sure. Why do you ask? He's like, because I'm looking to invest. And I'm like, actually, yes, I do have a project. It's about a killer rideshare driver, killer Uber driver. And so that kind of just set off, like you learn how to do everything else. Like I learned how to edit, you learn how to shoot, you learn how to, and then I learned how to raise money. So I went, kind of from friends and family, immediate friends and family, like everyone had kind of like $1,000 lying around, so put it all together and then continue to put my own money in there. So yeah, raised enough money to make Rideshare. 2 years later came out, and I've made 5 movies total now. And yeah, we're going to keep going, take it to the next level. I was in the back of a bingo hall, baby. Now I'm in a 7,500 square foot movie studio, Sacramento Media Center. So if you guys are ever in Sacramento, come by. I'll give you guys a tour.
Or you can watch. He actually had Dark Road Run, and him did a tour.
Yes, that's right.
I
yeah,
mean,
shout out to
I think
Joe.
You went everywhere. You even went into the main shooting room.
We did, yeah. Studio A.
So before Welty goes, I do want to say this: when Tremaine and I met, we met on YouTube. Actually, I don't even know if Tremaine remembers this, but somebody was blasting crap on Twitter about Rideshare Movie, and you had a Twitter handle on top of your Hayhoe one that was Rideshare Movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you probably still have it, but somehow
I do.
Somebody was like blasting it, and I hadn't you actually. I should have known, but you actually introduced me to the person who blasted it. Was I had seen it, and I was like, this is too over the top. So I got into it with him, and I think you were kind of laughing and watching it because maybe there hadn't been comments like this in a while. And I was going off, and then you jumped in and you were like, hey man, more than half the people don't like it. This is actually not even the worst of the comments. And I'm like, what's up, bro? And then 5-6 months later, you were like, I was getting the audio podcast started long before YouTube, and you came on, and we both clicked pretty well because we both had done production, different parts of it, but I was doing lasers, pyrotechnics, and lights. You were making the movie, so we were used to 14, 15, 16-hour days.
Oh, yeah.
And so we just kind of clicked like that. But Welty, I'm kind of interested to hear what's happened to you so far.
Yeah, thanks again. I argue that, first of all, I'm 25 years old. For those that don't know, I argue that I'm in my infancy. I think that's an easy argument to make. I'll still be making that argument when I'm you guys' age. No offense. Hope you guys are here to see it when I'm your age. Hope you're here to see it. So, my work career consists of minimum wage jobs. Started out fast food, Walmart. There was a Cutco era for me as well, Tremaine.
Heck yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I think I sold $19, so I almost caught you. But
there you go.
Yeah. I went to university as well. The 1.8 GPA wasn't going to cut it. So, but similarly, I appreciate that time still. I'm glad that I went through what I did. I met my wife doing that. And so, I finished, I did community college, finished up my 2-year degree, and then went into the workforce full time so that we could start our life together, have a wedding, get married. I did 6 months of HVAC, which didn't make sense for my life at all whatsoever, except for the ability to qualify for the mortgage, which made us homeowners at 23. So I was super proud of that. And that would be around the same time, 2019, 2020, that I started gig work for the first time. So again, I'm just getting started.
So was there an overlap? Were you doing HVAC and gig work, like trying to feel it all out?
Very part-time, very part-time.
Very part-time HVAC.
No, very part-time
Oh,
gig.
okay. So you eased your way into the gig economy.
I did.
Okay. I just
Yep.
wanted to make that clear. So yeah, so obviously, but here's a point. Part of your brand, and you might not be an expert at it, but is HVAC on some level now.
I'm sorry.
Not that you would go back into it, but you have a skill set where if you're at a different location, you could maybe help people who know nothing.
Yeah, I could probably still grab the hammer and the wrench for the lead who asked me to go get it for him. Yeah.
Yeah, I meant even like family on a holiday.
Right.
Let's not even put it in terms of money. Something happens, you're probably the best person in the house unless you have family that's HVAC. You're able to apply that trade
Sure.
to some level.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a level it ends. What's up, Dash? Or what's up, Ash? And what's up, Dasher Benji? What's up, Hannibal? But yeah, I mean, I'm interested. I'm interested why the gig economy. I'm guessing flexibility, and I'm guessing because if you came in 2020, that was pandemic, so you weren't. Have you ever done rideshare?
I've not yet. I want to. I just don't have a vehicle that qualifies, but we're gonna get there.
But you've been food. Do you do grocery at all, or just food?
I've started the process of onboarding for grocery stuff. There's a wait list. I do a lot of food. I do Amazon Flex, and now Spark is also a part of my routine.
Yeah, everybody seems to be on Spark, and I hope all of the Spark people the best. Hopefully it'll come back around at some point, not just after the holiday, but after this crazy saturation levels they're facing. But I don't know. I mean, for me, I can start off with a lot of things. So where is my branding? I think when I was talking about my history, I explained a lot of my branding. So I can do laser lights, and that's actually a very specific skill set. I can do production for staging. I can do production for lighting. I can do production for sound, but it's in that order. Like sound is the one I wouldn't be able to do a big show, but laser and lights and even some pyro. Like I did the final tour in Europe for Shania Twain. I've done shows with Elton John. Wow. I've done the biggest shows and concerts that there are. So I'm very familiar. That's a major skill set of mine. The gig I bartended for 10 plus years, managed, owned. I mean, I've been through the ringer, and I can tell you that even if I don't go back to any of those, they all make my brand. And by that, I mean, like, my brand is now not about all that history. I'm not trying to tell people that history. I just exude confidence when I do anything, or else I don't go into something. If I can't be really confident when I enter something, I don't do it. And therefore, part of my brand is confidence. I'll sell you on me, Steve. So I don't know how Welty, I know you sent me some notes, so I would love to hear anything any of those that you want to touch on about branding, because you had a lot of good ones.
Yeah, I just think that, like you said, 2023 is such an opportunity. I don't think it's limited to this year. I think it's this entire. It's going to be more than a decade.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I've felt since the pandemic, it's last year, it's been like creepy and not. I feel like this year's the first year I've felt out of the pandemic and like it didn't exist.
100%. Yeah. So I just think that there's a opportunity here, major opportunity for brands that are just starting or don't exist yet, or exist as a concept in somebody's brain right now. Because what is going to be successful for brands is developing something long-term, and developing something long-term based on, I think, character traits that are, commendable, things that we want to be as individuals. Brands need to be.
Yeah. I think that, I do truly believe that one of the hardest things to digest sometimes is, even if you have your own voice, don't ever bend it especially on public forums and stuff, and go, okay, I'm still going to be me, but I'm going to take in a little bit of that because there's views or whatever you're looking for over there. They'll come to you, and if they don't, it doesn't matter because they wouldn't stick around anyway. Don't change you, because then you're going to throw the people who believe in you off.
I agree. So I think things like kindness, empathy, generosity, if you can develop a brand around these things, you're gonna smoke everybody. Because I right now identify a culture full of people leading that aren't doing it that way. And as soon as somebody steps in and does, they're gonna you're gonna have a very successful brand doing that.
Yeah. And I mean, I know, like, I'm hoping people are getting this in the live, that even if you only do one app, and even if you only did fast food before it, you still have a brand. It's just like he just used the word infancy. It's just in its infancy.
Mhm.
And it's, when will you want to develop it more? Because no matter what, we all have a brand. In fact, I was saying before we started that, every day I change my brand with my carbon footprint. And by that, I mean, anything I do in that day could change my brand that little bit. So even if you're just doing one app, you have a brand, and it's you, and every day, I think you need to like at least be open. Even if you're sure you just want to do this one app forever. I can tell you that I've thought things forever too many times in my life. I'm going to do this forever. I'm going to do that forever. Never played out. A lot of them I still do, but they're now a part of my brand. Like, I still do laser shows, but I do it on a contract basis because I have a 17-year-old son at home. So I can't go on a 4-month tour. It's things like that. I don't do bartending because my son is in school, and bartending is kind of a different lifestyle. It's kind of like not ever leaving college.
I can imagine.
Even as you grow, I mean, unless you're in like some fancier place, and not that it wasn't fancy, but like some like upscale restaurant where it's really not about the bar, you're just serving for the servers. Even then, but that the bar industry is just, it's kind of like I don't know how to describe it, but I think we're all getting the vibe. It's just kind of a party that never ends.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to keep up with.
Sounds
it,
terrible.
You're making a ton of money, the hours that you work, and even when the bar closes, you're there another 3 hours counting tip outs. And in the tip out, if you're sharing tip outs, like we had an island bar, all the money's wet because somebody hit the tap into the tip jar, so you're like drying out all the bills. It takes hours. You're not out of there till the sun's up, and then you got to be back like 5 hours later. So that's working hard, and it pays off. I mean, it's great, but it's killing yourself too. I did it for a lot of years. It aged me for sure. I was married, and it played a big role in a lot of my life. So, but
so Steve, when you say, because especially when you work for yourself, we're all essentially self-motivated people. Would you say, like, you said your son is the reason why you do all that? Is that like a huge, like the main inspiration that gets you going? For me, it's like someone that, I don't have kids or anything like that. So I don't have that. Oh, I got to get that, I got those mouths to feed. So I have to kind of, I'm working on this like so-called kind of balance where, you work, like I work for a long time, but then also allow myself to give those days off, because those days on, sometimes I don't feel motivated, and it's worse showing up to work that way,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's,
yeah, no, how I would say it is, now he's in his junior year, so I can actually see he wants to go to college and all this. So I already know he's planning on doing this. So I'm starting to like, when I had to, when I was running the bars, I was going through the divorce at the end there too, after Max, and I'll tell you what, if I'm just going to be honest, if you're a single dad wanting parenting time, you damn well, and I don't even care what state you live in, you damn well better not be in the bar industry. And your lawyer will tell you that if they're any good the first day you meet with them. So I had to leave immediately. I had to go that was the first thing my lawyer said. So I was out. And
What's your dad doing? Well, he's at the bar every day. Well,
but dude, I was a
it's not like-
manager and I was an owner now of 2
I'm just kidding.
locations. I was
Yeah.
GM of one and pulled a bartending shift at the I mean, so I was building a bar legacy, you know, and I had ownership in both. So I mean, this was a big deal. We had to sell off the ownership. The whole thing got messy. But it's okay. It made me just have to reinvent myself because I had to be a dad. It also was a good slap in the face for me. I mean, if I had stayed in the bar industry, I wouldn't look this good right now. um, you know,
Yeah.
seriously, I'd be even more haggard though. Like, trust me. If even alive. I don't
Yeah,
even
who
know.
knows? Who
I mean,
knows?
because I was in it for many years. So if I had just stayed in it, I don't know, man. It gets pretty hardcore sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I don't everything I've done since my son was born and since my divorce, every job I've had has needed to be flexible. I've still done laser events. We have every Carnival Cruise Lines part of our company. We have Disney as part of our company, Toyota Corporate. These are 3 of the biggest clients we have. So I still can do a Toyota corporate show, and I have done many. I've done a couple New Year's shows for bands, but not like the tours I used to do. So I've been able to fit those in, especially when Max wasn't here full time, when we split the parenting. So I'd be able to go off and do things and then say I'm going to be gone a few weeks. Now I've always balanced it around him. So then I got gig work. Now I got Max. Well, gig work's totally flexible. I can work around everything I've needed to, even when he needed rides everywhere. You know, now he can take care of himself, get himself to school, all this stuff. And I don't, you know, but I do have to live in the area. But now I'm seeing it, you know, at the end of in another year and a half, I'm not going to leave the area or bounce on him, but I can start taking gigs and other things. So yeah, my brand is evolving and it's in a pause moment, I guess. It's still growing, but it's in a pause moment while Max is getting through school. I mean, I'm always going to 100% be here for him. Him and I have probably what most people would call an unnatural bond. Even we're extremely close. But you know, yeah, I make everything work. You know, I could even go do laser gigs now, to be honest, because he can stay here alone. So, like when I'm doing avalanche training, he'll be here alone taking care of the dogs. And it's just life has changed. But I did have to take the side road and the dirt road for parenting.
The detour. Yeah.
You know, if you want to be a good parent, you have to step off your track for a minute. I mean, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're still married. Things are going to change if you have a kid. So, but yeah, Tremaine, I'm interested to know, you know, like not only that, like, you know, how are you getting like actors to be involved? How are you getting because honestly, let's be honest, you were on what I refer to as probably the lowest end of a budget making Rideshare, like a movie that felt that. And again, it's more of a thriller, not like a gore horror. So even if you go check out parts, Welty, you should check it out just to see the cinematography, because that's what I'm really talking about. Like the way it's done, you feel like you're watching a movie that had a much bigger budget than Tremaine did. So even though he explained that he had some donors that were friends and this and that, now I question, how do you make something that nobody else can do for under $700,000 for $50,000 and make it done, finished, released, everything on Prime Video first, then YouTube?
Yeah. So essentially, I mean, basically everything that I ever learned from film production, I put towards the movie, you know. So I learned, and especially I attribute that year and a half that I worked at Maker Studios, where it was we were with all these YouTubers, and it was essentially, that was like my film school, you know, because every single day we'd be either filming or everyone wore a bunch of different hats. So even if you were a PA, you might end up being cameraman one time, you might end up editing, you might end up doing something else. So I learned how to do a lot with a little, and a lot of it, like, so, you know, we had a budget, and a lot of it is really scheduling out. So if I have a top, you know, more successful named talent, and they're going to get paid more, but you just block it out so you're not, you know, so you get everything done in one day or in a half day. So it's like if someone, and also like a lot of people want to be part of making a movie, you know, but I'm not that type. Or, you know, it was getting old when you're like pulling favors, right? A lot of filmmakers, they pull favors, right? I'm actually impressed. There's some people that get like 50 people to work for them for free. And like, I have no idea how they get these huge, you know, cast and crew, but I wanted everyone to take it seriously. And
people are looking for the experience for their
they're looking for the
branding.
experience and they're looking for work, you know, but then, you know, I wanted them to take it seriously and I wanted people that were, you know, good at what they did. So, you know, a lot of the parts I wrote for a lot of you know, living in when I was living in LA and having all this, you know, met all those friends. So I had most of them were like friends that I knew that I could act. So I'm like, you know, I'm not like twisting their arm to like act in a movie. Like, hey, do you want to be in a movie? You know, it's like, you're not, you know, I'm not asking them to shovel coal, you know? So that works to my advantage. You know, that being said, I would love to work with a lot bigger budgets and, you know, being able to get like big main stars
But
and
that
stuff.
said, like here, I'm going to point out one thing I know, because when we did that screening, the interactive one, okay, I'm going to point out one thing. Like you did, was it the train track scene? Like you didn't pull the permits or whatever you needed,
right?
And the cops rolled up, right, or something.
Not on the train tracks, no.
Or maybe you got the shot off. I can't remember, but something like that's the kind of stuff you had to guerrilla style do this because you didn't have the budget for that license. Or
yeah, and it's funny, and a lot of it is kind
trouble?
of laziness too, because I learned that some of these budgets, some of these permits are like $20, but you just have to call like weeks in advance, and they're like the city's really slow and all that stuff. So since moving to Sacramento, I mean, it's 10 times easier. LA, it's a little bit harder to finagle. I mean, we had, you know, a full crew. We had, you know, camera, sound, 3 actors, myself, everyone in a Prius, you know. So like we had to, it helped the fact that we were shooting it at night too, because I couldn't imagine shooting Rideshare during the daytime in LA. It would have been a nightmare. That would be the real scary movie, you know.
But it's quality film.
Yeah,
like, even if you didn't have volume and you were just watching it, like it looks, I don't know, maybe I'm a little, I wasn't when I watched it though. I didn't know you the first time I saw it, so I don't know. I thought it had major value. Like I was like, this is like real deal. And then when you told me, I had no idea. I was blown away, like how little it was.
So and also like that it's talent, you know. So my friend Jesse, who's a really great cinematographer, he has the Red Epic Dragon camera. So it's like his day rate was kind of lumped into the camera day rate too. That's also another way to like save a little bit of money. Like they're like a director of photography without a camera would get paid less than with a camera. But then it's not as much as he would get paid, you know, on like these big shoots. He gets paid, you know, thousands of dollars a day, you know. But he was the most well-paid person on set. Not saying anything crazy, but like it's totally worth it. You know, you put your money towards that quality, and it looks, you know, it's the same camera as the Hobbit, you know, the James Bond movies, and you know, Red Epic Dragon. I mean, it's amazing. It's incredible. So that helps. You know, but just because you have a fancy camera doesn't mean you're going to get a good quality shot. You need someone that knows how to work it. So that with Jesse, he was great with the shots, and especially like a handheld type feel, not letting it get too shaky, not letting it, you know.
No, it's perfect.
So anyway.
But yeah, so before I ask Welty something, I did want to say, remind us what the award was for Cat Town Story, because he didn't just do there's a movie. He doesn't have the last letter on the poster behind him, but it's called Simp. It's his
there.
movie.
It's there. Simp. It's our latest film. So
yeah, so
coming out soon. The trailer's on our channel,
right?
Hayhoe Studios. So check it out.
Yeah. And where can you watch Simp though?
You will be able to watch it on Amazon Prime. I'm probably going to do a YouTube release
after Prime.
Yeah. So
okay. But yeah,
it actually might even be before Prime, because Prime has been like backed up. Like Cat Town Story was supposed to be on Prime like 6 months ago,
so you don't even have to go too far into what it was, because I watched it. I've watched all your stuff. I'm Tremaine's biggest fan.
Thank you.
But Cat Town Story was so night and day different from what everything else you've done. So again, branding. I mean, you did a documentary that now also probably is it fair to say it's your most accomplished
Sure. I
piece,
guess.
even if like you don't think of it as that, or the time you put in was not worth it? Because like I also know, by the way, guys, Tremaine did a video where he said Mr. Beast's name. How many times?
1,000,000 times. 1,000,005 times. Yeah, and my channel got demonetized, so it's totally worth it. It got like 400 views. The most viewed one. It was 12-hour videos, 12 hours nonstop. Yeah. So 12 hours is like the limit, the highest limit that you can have on YouTube now. It used to not have a limit, but that's another story. So 12 hours, a full playlist. I'm like, oh, this is gonna go mega viral. This is gonna be big. Mr. Beast, when he said like Logan Paul 100,000 times, that went mega viral. But I said it 1,000,000 times, 1,000,005 times, and I got 400 views on the most viewed channel of it. And yeah, my whole channel got demonetized for repetitive content. Because I was literally saying Mr. Beast for 12 hours at a time.
But hey, you've got that skill set in your branding.
Yeah, Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast.
Oh my God, that must make you sick to do that now.
Dude, I was watching seasons of Survivor. Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But like, but that's the thing, though.
Honestly, tell us about and it doesn't even have to be the movie. Tell the story of Cat Town Story, because I didn't even know it was going to do such great things. I had no idea when you were first telling me about it. But you warned. This is a big deal award. This is Star Wars Studio. This is.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it won Best Picture at the All In Global Networks Film Festival. So, yeah, All In Global Network is located inside Pinewood Studios, which is the same.
What that is and the location is, so that people get the idea, because I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, so All In Global Network is located inside Pinewood Studios in England, London, England. And it's the same movie studio as Star Wars, Harry Potter, James Bond. So they're located inside that movie studio. It's like the most famous studio in London. So it won the like best picture for the month of January. So I guess it's not as cool. It wasn't like the whole year, but like they do one every year, every month.
It is.
Deal, it's cool.
Man. Don't downplay it.
Yeah, it's funny, man. It's like
this is you dissing on your brand. You want to be the guy who disses.
Yeah, that's true. I'm the greatest. It's the greatest.
There you go.
But that's the thing, though. It's like, yeah, I want to make the best movies. That's the thing, though. But people are like, well, you made a movie called Rideshare, then you made a movie called The Cat Town Story. Then you made The Bachelor Party, right? So it's like, when you think of, typically Disney has a very distinct, brand and everything, but they make all kinds of different movies, documentaries, action.
But it's actually a really good documentary too. Like, I actually am a dog guy, not a big cat guy, but I watched it and I was like, this is pretty cool. And I got into the story. The story is pretty cool.
Thank you, guys. And yet you could watch it on YouTube right now. I released it on YouTube, so you guys check it out. And actually, it hasn't been doing very well in terms of views, so if you guys can help me out and watch this movie, that'd be great.
Yeah. In fact, if anybody wants to post a link in the chat, Holly, what's up? If you want to go, I don't know if you know Tremaine's channel, Hayhoe Studios. If you want to go find Cat Town Story and post it
here, I'm just about to drop a link right here.
But Welty, so here's what I'm interested in specifically with you. You understand branding, and that's kind of the click that we had on New Year's to introduce us. And I'm interested where you're doing gig work. You're looking at doing some rideshare, but are you forecasting out a little bit? Like where is Welty going other than gig work? And I'm sure it's going to even go farther. But where's your direction right now?
Yeah, I think that I've probably been looking out ahead 40 or 50 years since I was like 8 or 9. I've just always, my brain just works that way. So I got a lot of goals. It's, a lot of them are both short-term and long-term. Like, my number one goal right now is to be a good husband to my wife. I think that's a big part of my brand. Honestly, that's a big part of my brand. And it's going to be really important to me to do that so that certain things are easier for me in life. I'm not going to say can't be done, but easier as a pair. So that's kind of my immediate long-term goal. Career-wise, I've never had a career goal, and maybe that's kind of where I am today. My goal has always just been to acquire $1 million net worth and then figure it out after that. So that's another one of the main goals I talk about on the channel pretty consistently, that I think it's doable in the gig economy. I know I'll be able to do that. And so,
right, you're a hustler. I mean, look at guys, like, let's be honest. There's a lot of gloom and doom, and people love posting it because that's what gets views. They love to say, look at the gig economy going to the end. I talk the truth about it, and there are some major hurdles in the way. There's some major legislation in the way. But the gig economy is supposed to triple worldwide by 2025. And it's not going anywhere. Does it need like redevelopment? Yeah, it probably needs a whole, like, blow it up and reinvent it, but it won't happen that way. It'll happen in pieces. And it's not going anywhere. I don't know where the pay will go. I think certain apps will do other things. I think at some point legislation is going to hurt. We're all going to pay for it no matter what state you live in. And at some point, the battles are going to become too expensive for both the states and everybody, because why would we, the biggest free enterprise country in the world, lag behind the gig economy? Because like I said, we got, the only people who really are exactly kind of where we are with the gig economy is Europe. And even that's kind of concentrated to certain areas. The rest of the world is only blooming. And if you hear news otherwise, it's just bad news, because everywhere else is blooming. India alone, like I was reading a stat about India, and we were talking about it, that the gig workers in India, yeah, you see complaints about how much they're making, but you also, if you look into it, well, you'll find that they complain about what their version of a W-2 is. You'll find that they complain about every wage pay over there. One of the biggest wins for the gig economy is they've never seen instant payout, and they have it. It does work through a Bitcoin system, and then you can transfer it right back to whatever your currency is. So you're just doing the transfer as Bitcoin. So unless it were to crash, like during a transfer, you'd be fine. But they've never, usually, and this is weird, usually people get their paychecks over there in 15 to 25 days. So to now be able to get it in an hour, I mean, that's a life changer for these places. That allows them things they've never even dreamed before. And India is no small country. That's a huge country. So it's not going anywhere. And I think that our country even knows we can't lag behind. We can't make everybody employees. Biden's been, and this isn't a political statement, and I have to sometimes just speak the truth about certain things, but I'm not ever taking a side. But the Biden administration is, and it shouldn't surprise anybody, is a major push for employee status, unions, all that, because that's his whole career. So I'm not even dissing it. It's not what I want, but he's spent 50 to 60 years with his number one goal being everybody's going to be an employee and work for a union. Yikes. I don't believe in that. I don't want that. I think that actually wrecks kind of what we're trying to talk about here tonight, and having a true value as your own brand. Like there's definitions of branding that are like, creating a logo and a voice to reach the customers that they're trying to reach, kind of thing. But that's the kind of, you can kind of look at it when you're branding yourself, but a business is different. But branding yourself, I think we're in that era now. Just like technology moved too quick. Look at chat CPT. That's scary as crap. I know writers all over the country, and a couple in London. So I know writers at every major publication. I work with them, and they're scared as hell. I mean, that industry's already been hurting so bad since moving to online and not as much like newspaper over the years, but they still have found niches. Now facing this employee stuff and this chat GPT or CPT, it's crazy. It is. Tony, get that crap out of here.
This isn't a political statement, but let's go, Brandon.
Jesus. Why don't you just write Kobe in there too, man?
LG, DJ Mickey in the house. What is up, DJ? Oh, thank you for the
but anyway,
super
yeah.
sticker.
So I mean, it is, you know, it's, I don't want, you know, I don't want my freedoms taken away, and that's exactly what it is. To try and push the entire country into employment, which is what's happening on many levels. In fact, it's happening in some states. We'll be talking about it tomorrow night on the roundtable. But, you know, aside from that, you are the brand. And I think it's time, you got to own it. You got to start being, you don't have to take on more things. Obviously, you can do anything you want, but start accepting that you're your brand and realize that every action you make, like who you interact with, who you hang out with, you know, who you're doing business with. Like I was saying, like who, if you have sponsors or sponsorships or partnerships, who you partnered with. Because if you've done your due diligence, you should only be partnered with people like you, or at least like-minded. They don't need to view everything like how you do, but you guys need to be like-minded. Otherwise, you're doing it for the dollar, and I can guarantee that will get you nowhere. I'm sorry to say it that way, but it won't, because I don't know. I'm going to ask Welty, and I even want Tremaine on this one. I want to know what you guys think of the W-2 world. Hannibal and I have been saying a lot, you know, like, how safe is your W-2? Because like when I was a kid, now we're talking ancient in Michigan, you know, if you went to work for General Motors out of college or high school, whatever level you went in at, you also finished your career there. And it was a thing of pride. And it was, you were proud to work at General Motors. Nobody goes into a company and finishes there anymore. I mean, like the percentage is so low. You know, most people that decide to enter the W-2 world are now transferring, what I saw some weird stat about, like 8 to 13 times in a career. But now we see all these tech layoffs right now in the first month, in the first 3 weeks. You know, we got 10,000 Microsoft, 18,000 Amazon, we got 11,000 Meta, we got
which, by the way, did you guys see that? There's a TikTok. This girl's like, my work day at Meta. Have you guys seen that? Oh my gosh. I get breakfast first thing in the morning. 2 hours later, I get lunch.
Well, maybe she got laid off.
Yeah, like okay. I think part of it, these huge companies is hire at a whim. They hire a bunch of people that aren't doing anything, and so it's easy.
I guess I'm just trying to illustrate, like, dude, how safe is that job anymore?
Oh yeah.
Here's what I will say though: if you are, and I always say this, if you are like so gung ho about a W-2 and there's something you specifically want to do, absolutely go for it. Don't like kill your dream over it. But I don't think it's worth going, okay, what can I do in the W-2 world anymore? This is my opinion. I think you're a lot better off to build your own brand, even on a low starting level, than to go, you know what could I do? And if you do that, this has been something I've been asking people to try. This is just a challenge to anybody who wants to do it. And it's not a challenge you even need to reveal to anybody but yourself. Make your resume dialed, and once a month, put your resume out for a job that you are not qualified for at all, but something you love. Like, let's say you love graphic arts, but you never did anything with it, but you've gotten pretty good on your own. Do it. Send your resume off to something that pays twice what you ever thought you'd make in graphic arts, because right now there's so low of W-2 workers. They might take you on and train you in everything just for the interest. I don't know. It's just a challenge I would give to people. If you're looking for that kind of thing, I would say this is one of the best times to go for that. So I might be contradicting myself on a W-2, but overall, if you're just looking for a job, I don't know about the W-2 anymore. I think with technology, I think it's going away. It's old, it's dated, and it just doesn't do what it used to do.
I think some people are just,
we've seen things happen that have just, you know, destroyed what people built, which was their brand within a corporation, but they lost it all because something evil happened. I mean, I can, you know, what's the one that I'm thinking of that really went down big? It was years ago. There was a movie, Have Fun with Dick and Jane, about it. I'm drawing a blank on the name.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, but like the real company that they were punning in that
Enron.
Enron. I
Okay.
mean, look at it. The people who put in their time at Enron, they lost everything, their pension, everything, their houses, their everything. They were all homeless basically, unless they had some private savings or the significant other had another career. They like literally went broke, lost everything they had. So I guess I ask you guys, how safe is the W-2?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't had a W-2 in over 10 years, so it's kind of not really where I got to ask. But
if you were going into the W-2, how safe would you feel about it now, Tremaine?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's weird. It's like I'm
like job security. Let me say it.
When you're working for
do
yourself,
you feel like
it's
you have job security?
Well, yeah. When I'm working for myself, it's like it's almost, it's like the riskiest. I don't know. It's like right. It's like the riskiest thing you could do. You don't have the set job. You don't have the set income. But I feel more comfortable not having that set job, not having that set income. At least for me and my personality, because I can work when I want, where I want, and I can dictate how much money I can make. Having a W-2, I mean, yeah, it's kind of scary because it was like something that I was doing what I loved at that last job I was telling you guys about, but I got laid off, after, I was one of 30, and then they had 3 other rounds after that, of big layoffs. And then about a month after that, they were bought by Disney for $500 million. So that's kind of a whole crazy thing. But yeah, I mean,
even Disney, though, even production, I know this firsthand. They've laid off tons of people.
Oh yeah. Well, and that I'm actually encouraged by that.
People not only who wanted to go into production, but wanted to work for Disney specifically, like you had your dream. That's been destroyed through the W-2 model. A lot of them are just gone, and they didn't even do anything.
Well, a lot of it is like the companies decide to go in a different way, and they don't do so well, and then like everything's great until it's not great, and then everyone needs to, then they retool. But I think they're going to be fine. I think Disney's not going to be in any.
No, I'm not worried about Disney. I'm worried about the people who aspired to work at Disney.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like with anything, with any job, you have to realize you could be somewhere for 30 years, and then they could still lay you off.
And that's always the case. Of course, you could walk into work and kick a coworker in the head and you're fired, of course. However, there used to be something called job security. People would go into work and they just felt more of an ease about job security. That's gone. That's what I mean, Welty, do you even think there's job security? Let's take government work out of it, because that's or teacher work too. And I'm not dismissing teachers or government work, but they can tenure in and be safe forever.
Yeah, no, it's non-existent. And, it makes a lot of sense to me from Biden's perspective, like you were talking about. He wants employment because he wants to look good on paper. You got to decide in life if you want to look good on paper or if you want to be invested in something else. I would, I know what kind of trajectory I'm on without the W-2, but on paper today, in the infancy of what I'm doing, I look like a loser. Let's be honest. And what am I going to do though? I'll bring the elephant in the room up, because that's kind of what I do. Just talking about myself, you're talking about a white, straight, male, conservative Christian without
I can't be on this podcast anymore. No, just kidding. Sorry.
Why, you're one.
Exactly. Hey, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Sorry, go.
No, but my reality is what am I going to do? How am I going to climb the ladder in a culture that's headed more and more towards I'm just not desirable in the workplace? And so I had to really be self-aware about that when I left HVAC. What am I going to do next? I decided personal brand's the way to go. And I like what you said, Steve, about, negativity gets the views, because I've thought about this quite a bit. That does seem to be true. That's true on my channel, even as I try not to do that. I want to double down on optimism. My investment or my prediction is that, likes get the views. Sure. I think optimism and positivity gets the subscription though. And I'm not just talking about
long term, yes.
More than that, more than just the YouTube subscription. When I'm looking at 60 years ahead of what I've got going on here, it's the audience that I'm building right now. It's not just a YouTube subscription. These are people that are going to be loyal to me than in more ways than just one platform here. So people got to have that in mind. It's not, if this is where you are, if YouTube's where you're starting, that's nowhere near the finish line if this is where we are today.
Yeah. And I honestly, like, I think for you, I think you're going to really hit some good strides with, like, everybody wants to get to 1,000 subs, which, by the way, get him to 1,000 subs.
Yeah, let's get him to 1,000. Subscribe
Right
to
now.
Welty.
Do it seriously, get him. Let's help get him there. But everybody wants to get there. But the truth behind it is, and even like Pedro's and stuff would say this, at the 1,000, it really, and he has crazy active subs. I have crazy active subs. I just don't have the sub count. I've got 1,500, or whatever, but I have a very active channel. I'm going to tell you right now, my income streams are many and come from many places. YouTube is not in the top ones of them. I don't make my money on YouTube, even though it's just commercials and stuff. So it's like, you're going to watch them anyway. Why not? If you're going to like even catch 5 seconds or whatever you need to do to catch it, why not put it in my pocket? Because if I don't monetize the channel, YouTube's going to find a way to take it anyway. They're not going to go, oh, don't touch that channel because he didn't monetize it. They're going to put commercials. They won't, maybe they can't put them in the middle, but they're going to commercial the crap out of the front and back. So you're just helping the creators out. But I'm going to tell you, like, Pedro's at a different level now, but even the Hannibals and stuff, Hannibal can't make his living on YouTube. I mean, not even close. I know Hannibal pretty well. And he's like, what, close to 6,000. Zach Drives Fast, a good friend of mine, he's close to 8,000. They're not making their livings, and they all have very active channels. They're not making their livings on YouTube. So this is just another income stream, and it's great. Mine's still small. I would love to see it get bigger, but I think that what Welty said is straight up true. I mean, like, you know what? I think you even said it in the Coffee in Colorado chat this morning, because we were talking about it, and Tony's like, I probably lost as many subs as I have. And I think you said, yep, get 6, lose 3. Dude, I look at that as straining out, and not bad people, but people who don't want to be involved in your channel. And that's better anyway. You want people in the channel who want to be watching your channel.
Exactly.
They don't have to be like you, but you want good conversation, not. And I'm not, like, I'm really good friends with Mr. Flex. The lounge gets pretty crazy sometimes, dude. Like, pretty damn crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, light it up, man. Like, and I honestly sometimes even feel like some of that is just everybody's dealing with January and a recession. And sometimes anger can just pop at any time. And if you're working all day and then in the lounge all night, I mean, who knows what could happen? A lot of times it's fun too, and I love Flex, but it's just, it can get crazy. And to me, he's got great subs, always has, got great viewership. But I'm building my brand on real news, on some of the projects I do. I'm doing different projects. I do one with Hannibal called Beyond the Algorithm. I do one now with Holly that we're doing on her channel about dumpling. I do one with the Drivens, Tony and Lisa, Coffee in Colorado. I mean, I'm always willing to do other shows on other channels because I believe in building other channels up and building the community up. But I think even the other creators, some people call it clicks. I don't call it clicks. I think it's that we all funnel to each other. Where, some of us, humor's great. We have humor in a lot of our different shows that we do, but we also bring a ton of information. So that's kind of who watches our channels. So I like that. I wouldn't want that any different. I wouldn't even want to grow 4 times as big quickly and pull myself out of the community I've built. That's my brand. I would rather.
Well, it's organic growth.
Have.
You have the organic growth going, and that's way better than something that, everyone always wants to just go viral, get this one viral hit, but then it's like, well, what do you do next? What can you do to follow up? And I think the organic growth, and it's like you're building that foundation now. You're not. It's great to have goals and keep growing, and I definitely want to grow as big as possible as well. But you know, their organic growth is something that is kind of underrated, you know, and it takes a lot of time, you know, but
I mean, look, Tremaine, if I didn't meet you, and then I didn't meet Dark Road Run during the pandemic, I wouldn't have put you two together. And I'm not sure if Welty knows who Dark Road Run is. He's under a new channel now. But he's never been a big channel, but man, that guy does things with lighting, and being somebody from lighting, I was sending him to Tremaine all the time. I'm like,
yeah,
you guys, and he's like, shut up, stop texting me, dude. And I was like, and now they like literally, these guys have met up multiple times. He went to the premiere of Cat Town Story with you. Like that connection
went to the
would have
Sim
never
premiere
happened.
too.
That's
He did
part of our brand.
Yeah.
I met you. I knew right away Joe was somebody you had to meet. I knew he was somebody that you had to. So I didn't know what would happen, but I knew you guys needed to be in touch. You know, and this is all. That's my brand, is to pass it along to you. You know, and Joe, and even Joe said, "Dude, he said to me, like, you know, I'm so glad that of all the people I met that you introduced me to Tremaine, because we've actually got like a brotherhood now." And I love that, because Joe's just a class act and a fun guy. I mean,
Oh yeah,
awesome.
he's a great guy. Well, that's the thing. I mean, just like, you know, new internet friends. I mean, you can really connect with people this way that you can't really. I don't know. It's hard to explain to anyone that doesn't do YouTube or content creation. You know, it's like, oh, so you met this person online, you know, via Twitter. You met some man online via, you know, that sounds kind of odd, but then, you know, we become friends. And that's what it's all about. We're here to like kind of lift each other up too, even though we're doing like different things in different areas. Where are you, by the way, Welty? What part of the world are you?
I'm over here in the Carolinas, right on the border. I think it's when you started talking about, or just getting the opportunity to meet you, I got really excited because my favorite filmmaker, I don't know if you know him, but he's Dan Mace, and he's now, you talked about Mr. Beast. He's now working for Mr. Beast. That he just announced that. So
now, is that the guy? I think he's is he
from South Africa?
Okay, I was gonna say New Zealand, but yeah, South Africa. Yeah, and he's doing the Beast Philanthropy channel.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. So he just moved over here to my neck of the woods. So if I get to meet him, I'll definitely. My goal now is to get y'all two to be introduced.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
This is branding, guys. Cool. I mean,
yeah,
this is and marketing. You're seeing branding and marketing the same time, just happened in 1 minute.
Well, I was going to say with marketing, with gig working, you have the opportunity to get in front of people you would never get in front of on a regular basis. Like when I was doing gig work, when I was doing Rideshare, I had dropped off like Rideshare flyers, like about the movie, spreading about the movie, you know, like stuff like that. I don't know if it's against terms of service or what, or
we don't follow terms of service.
Yeah, exactly. So, but like if you had, there's a jeweler. There was some guy who makes jewelry, and yeah, I guess he made like 6 figures on the side, like on his jewelry business. I'll learn how to say that word at some point. But yeah, I mean, you can market yourself and get in front of a lot of people. Because, you know, how many people do you see during the day that you're just servicing at it, you know, right? Like you're going to see at least however many people, you know, or how many gigs you do. So
well,
whether
not
it's
only that, the impression you make, even if you don't do a pitch, the impression you make on somebody and the potential of, wait, who are you with? And they say something and you remember the website and their name. I don't know if any of you guys have ever gone this far, and then you email that name at the website, maybe get them, or they give you a card and you don't know if that'll ever pan out to be anything, but then you get something in front of you and you're like that one guy, and you only knew him for 5 minutes, but you remember you have a card relating to this. Maybe you don't even know how good he is at what he does, but you're like, I know it, dude. Like,
right. Yeah. It's that, you know, you don't want to be the guy that's like, oh yeah, you know, let me rap for you. It's my rap career, you know, and you're like,
but that's again, that's branding, dude. Like,
yeah,
if somebody's like, hey, do you know a good, like if Welty starts doing rideshare and I'm in North Carolina and get in his car and I live in North Carolina and I'm like, dude, do you know a good HVAC guy? My guess is he's probably doesn't like his old place from the way he was talking about it, but maybe he does. And if not, he probably knows the other ones, or at least he knows, my guess is, the ones to not go with.
Oh, that's cool.
Like the ones that straight up overcharge you, rob you, doesn't matter. They're going to rip you off.
Tony says it's approved.
That's
part of the side hustle.
Doing rideshare. You know, like for me, it's a talent to know every bar in town. Somebody comes into town, they're like, where do I go? I'm like, what do you like? And I can determine from that question exactly where you should be on any given night.
You're like, go to Applebee's.
No, that's the whole point of what we're talking about. Applebee's is like hell for bartenders.
I'm kidding. By the way, they try to get you. They're like $1 Long Island iced tea season or whatever, right? And you get one and it's like all sugar and there's no alcohol. It's terrible. Anyway, sorry, that was a random side
Yeah,
note.
but I mean, but it's important, and it's important that we're all networking with each other and back and with the creator thing too. You know, again, I got to go back to the fact that, you know, some people brag about the growth of their channel. Some people don't say a word about it, and I'm super impressed at the growth of their channel. I'm like, wow. And I'll like Zach, I'm just gonna pick Zach out of a hat. Zach grew his channel very quickly, and his followers are active. He gets a lot of views on his videos. He's only done 2 lives, one of them with me, one of them himself on his whole page, but he drops a video almost every day. Now his videos get 4 to 6 plus thousand views. Some are up in the 10, 20,000s. And he's talking about gig work. So he's not impressed by himself, but I'm like, damn, dude, you've done a good job. And then there's others who brag about it. And then I look at their channel, they're not getting the views, they're not getting this, that, the other. They're just bragging about being a big channel. And that's like, or else they're a drama channel or this. And so when people say, oh, that's this niche, I don't like that. But if that's what it needs to be, fine. Because my niche is, I think that Welty said it earlier, and Kim, Side Money Plans, always says that I do a ton of lives with Kim, and we talk often, and kindness is always free. You know, like that's kind of the motif even. It's not necessarily the only one, but it's one of the big motifs behind my channel and my brand. I mean, like, dude, I'm not, if drama breaks out in my, like, I guess my point is you don't see drama break out in my chat. And maybe that slows my growth a little bit on YouTube, but I prefer that. I'm, you know, as much as we all want to grow our channels, I don't want to grow people that, you know, are looking to have a fight in the chat. But
yeah,
but they all seem to pop through here. So I've got the ear of a lot of
people. There was drama one time, Steve. I don't know if you remember that on my channel.
Well, there's always going to be a minute, dude. There's nothing you can do about some. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it just happens.
You typically need to handle it right away versus like some people let it become a thing, you know, and it's kind of stupid. Like I have another thing that I've been kind of focusing on is limiting interaction with certain people. And I'm not saying like just cut so many people out off your life, but I have one friend that would just be so negative all the time and like always, oh, do you see what so-and-so did? And can't believe they're doing that. And like always finding all the wrong things in other people. And it becomes draining. You know what I mean? It becomes really draining. And I had to like essentially block him because I don't want to hear it anymore. You know what I mean? I just don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. It's out of sight, out of mind. Why are you focusing on all this stuff? And like, since doing that, I mean, that alone, like my mental health has improved dramatically because like every day he would send me something, you know what I mean? Send me messages.
And Welty's probably not familiar with the fact that, and I don't even know if I've mentioned it to you, but I think I dared you to do what you did, which is Tremaine did the Truman Show for a month. He was live
the Tremaine Show
24 hours a day for a month
on
YouTube.
Yeah,
his whole life,
myself
sleeping everything, drinking, making movies, everything he did was all his whole life exposed. And that was an interesting project, you know. Even if nothing more than the experience of it, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
wild. I remember you at day 29, 30. You were like losing it, dude.
I was gone. Like I fell asleep. Like the last thing I think everyone saw was just me passed out in my chair. Yeah. I was just so wiped out. I needed like a week to recover from that.
But it's things like these that define you. And the Mr. Beast thing, they didn't go well, you know, but there's still things like, wow, he did that. Like somebody might pick up. I was like, dude, you did that, Mr. Beast. And then I was watching some, I clearly did not watch all of it, but I watched little clips from some to see, dude, did he just copy paste these over? But you didn't, man. Like, It
Right,
trips me
because
out you
everyone always
actually did
say,
that.
you know, always says like, everyone's oh yeah, oh that's cool, you know. So what you said it like 10 times, and then you just like copy pasted everything.
No, yeah, and
No,
anybody,
no.
nobody's gonna want to watch them all, but you can go watch and see. You'll notice he didn't. It's very clear.
Now,
and then-
Hayhoe can get those watered down Long Islands with his improved mental fortitude.
yeah, or I mean, like one of my favorite things that Tremaine does is his when you do, I don't know if you even do them anymore, but the improv.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
So
we're
he'll
gonna
do
we're
like
bringing it
live.
back.
He
Too.
does live improv acting class where, like he'll come over to the chat even and say, "What do you guys give us a topic?" And then they all act it out. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, so I saw this comment and I agree 100% with Eric. And I saw Welty replied on paper, or on paper, Eric, on paper. I still don't even think that's true because we're in a technology age. You don't need to deal with paper. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean that, like, you're selling yourself, dude. It's kind of like I said, apply for jobs, which I'm telling you, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you couldn't do that. You couldn't apply for a job you're not qualified for. Even if you were willing to learn, they'd be like, nope, we got a ton of people. But I don't even know that, you know, I want my son to go to college, but I'm going to be honest, I don't even know what the value of college is other than the experience, because it doesn't matter anymore. In fact, I know employers who on the W-2 side who would prefer somebody who goes to a 2-year school and is focused on one thing.
Yeah, like a trade school.
Exactly. You know, I mean, like that's a bigger thing these days, I feel like, than a college. But you know, he'll make his path and whatnot, and you know, who knows where it'll go. I support him fully. He's smart, but I don't know where it'll go. But like, you know, I don't know what you know, what'll happen tomorrow. But like Welty could end up with you know, I've worked with a few different companies. He could end up with a big sponsorship that might change a lot of things. You know, he might learn some things too that are also branding him. He might, I've worked with single companies, I've worked with multiples. And when I work with single, it's exclusive and I can't do anything for anybody else. So you can trap yourself. There's all kinds of experiences to be had. But I honestly don't know, unless you are just dead set driven on a certain job. I guess my one takeaway is, even if you don't realize you're creating a brand yet, you are. And unless you're focused, don't go to the W-2 or try your hardest not to. I feel like it's crumbling. It is worldwide for sure. It's gone. But I feel like it's crumbling here too. And sooner or later will fall, at least to a degree like we've never seen, because people are sick of overpaying for what we know we're overpaying for. Basically, in life insurance through the government is what taxes are. I know they also support roads, highways, all these things, yes. But if you actually add up the numbers, they don't add up. Like what we spend and what we take in, we're taking in way more. And then if you go to usdebtclock.org, you can watch the trillions gaining by a second on what we owe. So nothing makes sense. So I think the W-2 being broken is a good thing. Let's take our accounting into our own hands. Let's do it all into our own hands. But so what do you guys got for last word, like a last takeaway for everybody? Welty, what do you got?
Absolutely. I think the points you just made are so important to make. I agree wholeheartedly that an investment in the corporatocracy right now is just not where you want to invest your time and your future. It's more than a half court shot, in my opinion, that you're trying to bank in and bank on. So, again, appreciate the opportunity to be here with you guys tonight. And hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Oh, I would love to. I'd love to do a different topic. I love topic talk like this. I think it's great. And
Topic talk.
yeah, I mean, just like, you know, being off the brand. I mean, this is not what my channel is at all. And usually all the same people are in here, and probably a lot of them will watch it later and whatnot. And the bottom line is, this is not what I talk about. But I love something like this. I would love to do another one next month on something even different. And it'll all lead back to building your brand, no matter what we talk about. So no matter what, the foundation here tonight is build your brand. And even if you're like, I'm not going to build a brand, well, realize that you already are. So it's what do you want? What do you want it to be? Who are you hanging out with? You know, what are you saying publicly that people can now quote you on?
Yeah, and as you say that this is new for you, and it's, you know, it hasn't been traditionally part of what you do on the channel. It's in my opinion, we just got to make a split decision about whether it is or not. Well, now you've done it, so now it is part of your channel, and we are the niches of whatever we do. Don't let people lose sight of that. Don't think that you're a piece of a big story that's being told. Otherwise, in my opinion, that's like W-2 employee type mindset. If you think that if I think that I'm just a part of a gig niche on YouTube, GigTube, I'm falling for the same sort of incorrect thought process, in my opinion, incorrect thought process. The niche of my channel, and that's why I named it what I did. It's literally my last name. I am the niche. I got a comment from a channel about a week ago under a video. I guess they didn't like where I took one of my videos into a conversation that's got absolutely nothing to do with gig work, and I'll do that once a week at least on purpose.
I wonder, was it the live where I caught one of your lives where I was laughing my ass off because I think you kind of for a minute didn't have something to say, and you're like, I don't know what else I got, man. You want to see me change a light bulb or fix something? You were gonna fix something, or
yeah, that's like the shtick of the live show. I'm like, hey, listen, I don't come to my lives with topics because I've got videos during the week designed for me to rant about whatever I want to rant about. So I'm like, hey, listen, the lives are going to be extremely chat dependent, and if not, I'm still going to run it for an hour regardless. And if there's nothing to talk about, if it's not lively in the chat, I'll start dusting my blinds back here.
Yeah. And Tremaine, what about you, man? I mean, like if you even have a lame answer, I'm gonna get pissed because you always have a lot going on, man. So I mean, I know that Simp just finished. I know Post takes it all out of you. I know that you spend a lot of time in Post. I know that, again, like all of us, you're a very small operation. Those that know Tremaine puts out amazing work, but he's just him. He's he's got people when he does the projects, but he does all the work too.
I'm me, baby, me. Yeah, that's actually perfect question because now I'm at that point where I need to really level up with what I'm doing and getting the whole process going. So I'm actually going to be launching an Indiegogo in 2 days. You guys are the first to hear it all here. Because, I do a lot of the side work that helps get my passion of my own movies going, but like it's time to take it into high gear and have Hayhoe Studios, take it to that next level. So this is actually a perfect theme, on brand. I might be doing something similar, a publicity stunt as I did with a Tremaine show, 30-day type thing. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, you got to really.
You're going to do 60 days?
I don't know about that. But yeah, because I honestly, I'm at that. I got to raise money again. These movies don't pay for themselves quite yet. But yeah, it's going to be really huge learning lesson. I've been kind of, I don't know. January is kind of like a weird time, but I've been hibernating in order to like get to this like next step, this next level. So we're about to take off.
You're going to spring into a new Hayhoe.
That's right. New Hayhoe on the way. Hayhoe Studios, baby.
But is there, I know you always have a bunch. Is there one main idea of a movie? Can you give any soundbite here about anything that's really sticking with you?
I'll give you one. There's one. So ChatGPT, basically AI wrote the script to my next movie. So I'll give you that one.
You should announce that, dude. Don't say it out loud.
Already did. We're going to do a video about that too. And I don't know if I'm going to be the first or someone else is going to do it.
Is the movie called I Wrote Myself?
The movie's called Galactic Love. And AI thought of the actual title of the film. So
did it make
and Joe's going to be helping me out on it. Joe's down to shoot it. So
did it make the characters and stuff, or did you input those?
Oh yeah, it makes the characters. Okay. I started off as a silly thing. I'm like, hey, write the sequel to Rideshare. I'm like, oh, whatever, write Rideshare too. And then it spit out a scene. It was crazy. Like, and then it kind of evolved to something else. Like, well, this can't, you know, like, this can't be Rideshare too, obviously, but because it goes a little bit out there. But yeah, it's fun. They even have inflections, like they even write jokes in there too.
Well, I know
So,
Hannibal wrote a poem in 1 minute after our last Thursday live, and then he posted it in his community post. He's like, I just put this into chat and had it pulled out in a minute. And it was like
yeah.
this perfect poem. And I showed it to my son even, and he's like, that's real smart. So nobody's ever going to write a paper again.
I know. No, I know. So that's
Right.
I like for any kids that writing a paper, now it's easy. They can cite sources and everything and put it in.
My wife's an English teacher. I don't know if you guys know that. So I've been talking to her about exactly that. I'm like, this is incredible. This is wild.
I feel so.
There's
Has
gotta
she
be
experienced
somebody
that? Like,
developing software somewhere to be able to say you use chat on this.
yeah, I
just
think
has
there
to be.
is.
Gary
There
Middleton,
is.
if there isn't, get on it, man.
Yeah, is she saying that has she experienced that? Some kids using it already?
No, it's just, I wouldn't say that. I would say it's just, I mean, it can't be a matter of probably more than weeks before though.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
writing's on the wall with this stuff.
Yeah, and once you let technology out of the gate, guess what, suckers? Like,
Terminator.
but that also is going to raise a couple generations of morons.
You guys are all morons.
Well, if they're just doing if they can, I mean, what if they make math GPT?
Oh, totally.
Doing anything, man.
Well, that's it. I mean, I remember, like, I used to have to memorize phone numbers. You know, now you don't have to do that, right?
Yeah.
So that's all brain exercise. But I don't know. It all evolves. I think it's about working.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
I think
work
that
hard,
jumped
work
a
smart
little
as
ahead
well.
of the timeline with technology, my personal opinion, but now we got to deal with it.
Yes.
But
yeah, but thank you so much, Steve.
That's
and
more
awesome.
a reason to keep your voice real, you guys, because this thing can do amazing things, but it can't be you. So, but I want to thank both you guys for joining us, and everybody in chat and everybody that watches this after. Please leave any comments in the comments part. We'll come through and answer all those, because and also if you enjoyed it and you'd like to see us do it again, because I thought it was fun. You know,
it was a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Steve. Yes, slap a like on this video and subscribe to Rideshare Rodeo and Welty and Hayhoe Studios.
The
awesome
second
meeting
this
you, Welty.
ends, guys, I'm going to put both their links in there, so make sure you guys all subscribe. So, all right, guys, have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow night for the roundtable. Yeah, tomorrow night. All right,
sounds good.
Peace.
Yes, thank you. It's late on the East Coast, guys. It's late.